This is All India Radio. In World News Hotspot, now we bring you a discussion on India's State of Forest Report 2021. The participants are Anoop Singh, Director General, Forest Survey of India, and Sanjay Jha, journalist.
India's State of Forest Report has been released last week, and it shows India's forests have increased by more than 1,500 square kilometers in the last 2 years, and 17 states have a forest cover of more than 33%. Mr. Singh, how encouraging it is sign for us as a green country?
First of all, if you go by the net changes, the net change in the forest cover is 1,540 square kilometers, and tree cover is increased by 721 square kilometers. So it's a very good and positive sign. And major gainers are state of Andhra Pradesh, 647 square kilometers, Telangana, which is 632 square kilometers, and Odisha, which is 537 square kilometers. Some states are showing losses like Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, and Nagaland. But what is noteworthy over here is that besides gaining the forest cover, we have also gained in very dense forest cover. The very dense forest cover, once we are gaining in carbon. So we are gaining in the carbon getting sequestered. So it's a very positive thing that is happening, and we are very happy about it.
This year's, the information provides on forest coverage, tree cover, mangrove cover, growing stock, carbon stock in India's forest fire monitoring, forest cover in tiger reserve areas, above ground estimates of biomass using SAR data and climate change hotspots in Indian forest. So it's quite a detailed study which you have come. So how is this study sort of more improvised and having more detail than the last surveys which you came out?
India's State of Forest Report, that is a very respected international document, and people are both in India and abroad. They wait for the release of this report. It's more like a report card or a result card. We can see as to how the things are changing. So issues like forest cover, tree cover, mangrove cover, growing stock, and carbon stock, they have been routinely covered in the last few reports. And whatever changes are there, they are very keenly viewed by the people. But what is happening is Forest Survey of India, we are in the production mode. Every 2 years we are getting satellite data. We are working on the analysis of data, ground truthing, checking out with the state government departments going to the field. So all that work goes on, and we are more in a sort of, it's a running cycle. So we don't have much time to stop. But this time the officers of the Forest Survey of India, what they thought, since we are working in this field for a long time, let us also try to work on the cutting edge of technology. Why don't you try to work on the cutting edge of technology so as to improve ourselves, improve our estimates, and new things that we want to do. So we used to get suggestions from a lot of experts. So this time we roped in the Space Applications Center Ahmedabad, which is a very reputed center as far as research on space applications is concerned. So we used their services for SAR data on biomass estimation. This is a promising study. It's just at the initial stage, but this is a promising study where L-band data was used. And besides that, as we all know, the thing which is bothering all of us is the climate change. So the climate changes are affecting our coasts, climate changes are affecting our forests, they will be affecting our biodiversity. So how and where they are going to affect the forests, the climate change that is taking place. So we try to work it out as to what are the climate change hotspots which we are going to find out in the forest. So for this we roped in BITS Pilani and Goa campus, and then along with them we have done the study. So it is basically making the report more readable, interesting, inviting comments from people, inviting suggestions, guidance from the experts. So there's more to read. There's more to read besides the regular report.
Indeed, this report obviously contains much more detailed data than just numbers, which can be utilized by different stakeholders in this business. One thing we have noticed in this report that the country has lost more than 1,600 square kilometers of natural forest in this period. And loss of natural forest is obviously a worrying thing, although the loss has been compensated by improvement in the health of the protected areas and reserve forests, etc. But a large part of increase is due to the more areas coming under plantation. So it is a very success story obviously for plantation, but it is not substitute for natural forest when it comes to providing critical ecological services. And some experts are now saying that forest reports conclusion of increase in cover should not lead to complacency, and we should try and focus on getting the natural forest.
Actually, complacency is one thing which we should never have in administration. That's a golden rule. So complacency, I think whenever you are gaining something and if you become complacent, then you lose. If you go by the gains or if you see the previous reports analyzed, since 2015 we have gained in forest cover around 1,294 square kilometers, whereas the gain in forest and tree cover together in the last 6 years, as is from 15 to 21, is 15,470 square kilometers. which is quite again. So complacency, we don't have any place in complacency in administration. Coming back to the point that you raised that we have lost, natural forests. Actually, part of it is not true because the data that is there that says that MDF has changed, the medium density forest has changed. But if you analyze the data, you will also see, if you see the change matrix, there is a change from medium density forest to very dense forest. 1696 square kilometers, 1696 square kilometers from medium density to very dense forest. That's a positive change. Similarly, from open forest to very dense forest, we have got a gain of around 245 square kilometers, which is also a very positive change. So when we are looking at statistics, we have to see all the statistics, we have to analyze it more holistically. So I would say that we are on the right side, and the total gain from MDF to VDF in 1696, from open forest to VDF in 245, even from open forest to medium density forest is around 2,939 square kilometers, which is an improvement in the quality of forest. So, this criticism is not very well founded.
In this report, we saw the challenges in the northeast part of the country, where we have seen shrinkage in the natural forest. And I think the report attributes this loss to the natural calamities as well as anthropogenic activities such as shifting agriculture, developmental activities, and the felling of trees. And, when these things happen, this could lead to the health of aquifers, in the region where we already see the northeast having some, the water issues. Are you worried about this challenge that the forests start shifting? It could also lead to the water issues, water scarcity. You already mentioned about climate change. I'm going to talk to you about climate change in next questions. But what is your take about the northeastern India?
See, I would like to view the northeastern region more in a longer. This region is a very fragile region and vulnerable to natural calamities. Okay, if you see the forest fires, maximum number of forest fires take place over here. The terrain is very tough. So if the forest fire takes place over here, setting off, putting out the forest fire also becomes a very big challenge. So it is a very tough region. So I will not go by just the changes in the last 2 years or something by analyzing. If I use the data of 2001 and use the data of 2021, 2021. So in the last 20 years, there is an overall increase in 155 square kilometers forest cover in the northeastern region. So overall, if we go over the long run, we have had an increase of 155 square kilometers. At the same time, I also agree with you. There are losses in some of the states, and those losses can be because of shifting cultivation or because of forest fires. Okay. So these need to be analyzed locally by the local communities, by the local forest departments as to why those things are happening, and wherever it is possible, let us try to improve.
One of the interesting things you have done in this report this year is the mapping of climate change hotspots in Indian forest. I think you did it with the help from BIT Pilani Goa campus, and this collaborative study was carried out probably with the objective of mapping the climate hotspot over the forest cover in India using computer model-based projection of temperature and rainfall data for the future time periods. What was the purpose of doing that? Are you also started realizing or witnessing the climate change in the forest as well?
See, as such climate change in the forest area, we need to carry out more deeper studies like biodiversity studies, because what happens is, especially the herbs are the first to be hit by the climate change, because once any minor climate change takes place, things like the orchids, things like the herbs which are growing on the ground, they will start gradually vanishing. So what is the current condition, how things have changed the last 50 years, 70 years? We need to carry out special studies. We just wanted to touch the tip of the iceberg. So during this study, this is more like higher level study where we have used the models to work out as to what are the areas which are going to be more prone to issues. So once we have worked out those areas which, like we were talking about, part of Ladakh or part of the Himalayan regions which are going to be more affected because of the changes, now we need to go for more deeper studies. No doubt climate change is affecting everybody. You can see the floods in Uttarakhand or the cyclones, the continuous cyclones that are taking place in the Bay of Bengal. We are concerned about it, and it is bound to affect the forest also. Why we are more concerned about the forest is because forest is something which is not, it takes time to regenerate, and once the things start disappearing, getting them back is going to be tough. So this is just this was an indicative study that we have done. Now more detailed studies on biodiversity assessment we need to carry out.
This year there was a new initiative which was documented in the form of a chapter where above ground biomass has been estimated, and I think you are doing it with collaboration with SSC, ISRO, and a special study of estimation of above ground biomass at pan-India level using the Alban satellite. What is the purpose of this study? What are you trying to achieve with this study?
India has got international commitments as far as carbon is concerned. as to how much carbon we are going to sequester. So 3 billion tons is the target till 2030, 2030. What is the current status? How much carbon is this thing? We have been calculating using our own forest inventories, and we have got our own volume equations, biomass equations, and nutrient equations. So this is what we are doing by carrying out ground-based inventory. Now we wanted to work out some method by which we can also explore using remote sensing based methods on carbon assessment. So this is the first study that we carried out at the all India level, where we use this synthetic aperture radar and the different polarizations of the radar in combination, in consultation with the SAC Ahmedabad, to work out the quantity of biomass that is available. And we try to link the remote sensing parameters along with the inventory parameters that we have collected from the field. So this is a very interesting exercise. I mean, whether correlation can be worked out or not, what's the level of correlation, what sort of correlation is going to help, what sort of sensor is going to help. This is more like an exploratory study. It has shown promise, no doubt. So we are going to further work on it and see whether we can really work out the carbon changes for the entire country on this thing.
You talked about the impact of climate change on the forest as well. We have seen that some of the tiger reserves, like Sundarbans, where because of climate change, the forest area is shrinking. How much is that a concern for you?
It is definitely a cause of concern. You see, it is a loss of forest cover. Then the loss of forest cover in the last 2 years in West Bengal is around 70 square kilometers. And if you see the decadal loss in Sundarbans, it is 49.95, around 50 square kilometers. So what is happening is, two, three things are there. First of all, the frequency of cyclones has increased. I was talking to the Chief Wildlife Warden of West Bengal. So he also guided me on this particular issue. I think that the frequency of cyclones has increased. The frequency of stronger cyclones has increased. So Sundarbans or the mangroves or Sundarbans, which have been bearing the brunt of the cyclone because they are the first line of defense. Whenever cyclones strike, they are first line of defense. So gradually, because of the continuous hitting of cyclones, they are getting affected. It is a cause of concern because that's a tiger habitat also. Mangroves, the good thing about mangroves is if you make an effort, they do get regenerated also, both naturally as well as with some protection measures and some attention, they get regenerated. So the West Bengal Forest Department is working. It is indeed a cause of concern, but they are on the right track.
One thing we saw in this report is that around 4 lakh forest fires were detected in the fire season from 2020-21, the study, which is more than double the number of villages compared to the previous year. Do you think, is it because of the more monitoring or is it because of some impact of the climate change? What is the reason for having, and what is FSI's role with this?
The number of forest fires in the last season were around 3.5 lakhs. 3,45,989 to be exact. So it's a big number and it's a big jump over the previous year where the number of fires were only 1.24 lakhs. So mainly when we try to ascertain from the IMDBC, before we talk about the number of forest fires, we have to understand as to why these fires take place. So they take place only when the fuel load is more material is available to be burned. Okay. So now what happened was because of not having rains, a lot of areas like places like Odisha and all where they used to get rains, we did not get any rains. Second thing is the temperatures are also much higher compared to the previous years. So when we talk to IMDb and try to collect their data and all, we found that many places the temperature records are broken. So we don't get rain, so the material is dry, material is on the ground, material is ready to be burnt on the ground, and we are not getting rains and temperatures are high. So we are going to have more forest fires. So naturally, more forest fires took place during this particular season. Now, what new thing that is happening is that National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, NDMA, National Disaster Management Agency, they are all on board now. They are going to take forest fire as a major disaster and they are trying to work on it. Forest Survey of India has been playing a very major role in this thing because we have got a collaboration with National Remote Sensing Center. So National Remote Sensing Center is sending us information on the hotspots as to where the fire is getting detected using the satellites like MODIS and SNPP VIRS sensors we are using. So the alerts are sent to us by National Remote Sensing Center NRSC. Then we are value adding on these alerts as to which place, what are the alerts that are taking place inside the forest area, what are the forest beats, ranges, divisions where they are taking place. Accordingly, we are filtering out and we are sending information through emails and SMSs to the local forest guard, the local forest ranger, the local forester, and the divisional forest officer. So all staff we are trying to cover by sending them SMSs, alerts. So these are all early warning. The moment the fire starts, we send. Besides that, Forest Survey is also doing pre-fire alerts. I mean, we are analyzing, we are getting some data from US satellites, and we are analyzing as to what are the places where fire is likely to take place. I mean, because the temperatures are high, fuel load is more, wind speeds are high. So after analyzing all those things, we are also giving pre-fire alerts. Pre-fire alerts means that these are the areas where you are likely to have fire, so you get a place for fire watchers or get your camps in place or something. So that way, Forest Service of India is playing a nodal agency role as far as forest fires are concerned in monitoring. Now, more needs to be done as far as putting out the forest fires is concerned. More efforts need to be made at the ground level, and more probably modern technologies need to be input in that, so that forest fires can be, doused at the earliest.
There is certainly a good news in terms of forest coverage increase, and let's hope that you continue to have such good news coming in the upcoming years, and we have more green coverage with help from FSI survey. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
So before I conclude, I would like to say a few things. See, Forest Service of India is only carrying out the assessment. Actual work of increasing the forest cover, effort of increasing forest cover is being done by the state forest departments, coupled with the forest protection committees. I mean, I would like everybody to be aware that we have got a lot of forest protection committees or one selection committees which are operating at the ground level, at the village level. So these villagers who are part of this forest protection committee, they are full-heartedly participating in raising of plantations, in putting out forest fires, in protecting the forest from smugglers. So this is a collaborative effort between the people and the department and the government, which is yielding results. So we need to congratulate the entire team, starting from ground level, which is working.
Indeed, everybody's role is very important as far as protecting the environment, saving us from the climate change is concerned. But FSI has to give that data, monitor the data for everyone to work around. Thank you once again for your time. Really appreciate talking about the new India's Forest Survey.
Thanks a lot.
You were listening to a discussion on India's State of Forest Report 2021. The participants were Anoop Singh, Director General, Forest Survey of India, and Sanjay Jha, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.